We're back with the magic of the musicals on Broadway, and we're here with a big star, Kerry Butler. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
It's really nice to talk to you. I'll tell you why, because I came to see Xanadu this week, and it's completely the antithesis of everything else on Broadway. It was nice. It was a relief.
Oh, good. I'm glad, I think.
Well, it's a very different show. If you want kind of the big, spectacular, over-the-top Broadway numbers, this probably isn't the show for you. If you want a fun time with great music and lots of interaction and big laughs, this probably is.
Yeah, definitely. There are some shows where, like the set and the all special effects will wow you. And our show is more like just the story is great and it sucks you in. And yeah, I mean, people tell me, that they've never laughed so much at a show. So that's nice.
There's two things about you that struck me. One, you're gorgeous.
Oh, thanks.
And you can sing and you're very talented. And also you're very annoying.
Annoying? Why?
That accent is very annoying.
Oh, you know what? Can I just tell you, I've always hated Australian accents. I probably shouldn't say this on British.
We don't care.
Well, I lived in London for a little while, and there were a lot of Aussies around. But it was like I loved the British accent and the Australian accent. It was like nails on a chalkboard to me. But now, of course, I love it because now I'm doing it all the time, and I find all this fun stuff with it. And it's nothing against the Australian people. I love the Australian people. But and it's a really hard accent to learn too. But yeah, I have a lot of fun with it, and I try and make it annoying for sure now.
What I kind of find irritating about the accent is the fact that everything's a question. So everything's a question.
Yeah.
And how are you today? And why do they go up at the end?
I don't know. And I didn't do that much in this, but it's true. Like if I was even more authentic, then every single one of my lines would be going up.
I think if you did that, everybody would leave, wouldn't they?
I don't know.
It's interesting to see you in this because you've done so many phenomenal shows, and this is kind of a different show. It's not a massively oversung show, yet the numbers you sing aren't easy, are they?
They're not easy. Your voice is kind of all over the place, but I grew up listening to Olivia Newton-John, and she sort of taught me how to sing, and so the songs are really in my voice, so they're all, at the same time, they're not that difficult.
Tell us about the show. It's called Xanadu, and it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Luckily, it is not the movie. It took the name Xanadu and the basic storyline and the songs and completely rewrote the book, which I think is a good thing. Douglas Carter Bean sort of took, which is like a second of the movie, that's the Greek goddess comes down to earth, and sort of expand on that. So our show is very Greek tragedy, and we all had to learn about mythology and learn about our muses and things like that. And so that's been fun. And I think he just wrote a great story.
I got a kick out of this show, watching the audience watching you. It's a show which is interactive. Not many shows over here are interactive. In fact, this is the only one where I believe there are the audience sat on the stage for the entire show.
Yes. And sometimes that can be a bit challenging. Last night, there were these girls, and I can say this since, these girls won't be going to London, who were, the tweens age, like 13, and they were just sitting there like maybe their mother dragged them, and with these faces on. And so Jackie Hoffman, who plays one of the muses, sometimes she gets to improv a tiny bit in the show, and so she went over to them at one point and was like, "Will you sit up?" And the audience went crazy because I think the whole audience could relate to just those teenage years when the girls don't want to like anything, And so a lot of times it's very hard for the actors on stage to keep a straight face because of the things that Jackie says and because of the audience on stage. Sometimes we have audience members on stage singing the songs with us at the top of their lungs. And then afterwards, like this one guy did that, and I went to him after at the stage door. I was like, "Oh, wow, you sure had a good time tonight." And he's like, "You noticed me?" And I was kind of like, how could I not? You were singing in my face. But as long as they have a good time.
I suppose it's a chance for people to get their Broadway debut, isn't it?
It's true. Some people have said that. They said, I've always dreamed of performing on Broadway, and tonight I did.
Tell me about what it's like when you see them grimacing or not laughing at your joke. Do you want to give them a slap?
I don't, but several cast members do and complain about it in the wings. I kind of don't. I don't let that bother me at all. And, most of the times they are, really enjoying it. So it doesn't affect me. I
don't know what's worse, being the Phantom and being dark every night or trying to be hysterical every night.
I love doing comedy. So I I mean, of course you'd like to do drama too, but if I had to choose, I would definitely choose comedy. It just lifts your own spirit when you do it.
Congratulations on being you. You're remarkable, you're unique, you're gorgeous, you sing so beautifully. And this is a show as well where you can't really hide behind the music. Xanadu particularly, I noticed, is a really tricky song to sing. It's kind of high, and then you're on skates. I really don't know how you even catch your breath. That must take training, or what is it, tablets?
Well, the skating was the hardest part with this show, for sure. I was like petrified at first because you can literally skate right off into the audience. There's no rail or anything. But, now I'm used to it. Now I love it. And the skating actually helps my singing because I don't focus on, and you have to breathe because you're so out of breath from the skating. So it forces you to take these deep breaths. So it actually helps with my singing. I found when I went into the recording studio to record our album, I was like, why am I not hitting this note? And I had to pretend that I was skating and put my arms up and stuff.
Congratulations, Kerry. You do this brilliantly. Xanadu is a fun show. And if you just want a relaxed night at the theatre, particularly for the guys, you kind of see the husbands being dragged around Broadway, and it's not necessarily their most favourite thing. This is a show where they'll have a good time.
Oh, good. I'm glad you said that.
Kerry, thanks for talking to me.
Thank you.
We're back with the magic of the musicals on your favourite local radio station. It's Alex Belfield talking to the big stars of Broadway today. And we've got a guy in front of me now who, I'm sorry to say this, and I don't do this very often, he's called Cheyenne, he's in Xanadu, and I don't like you.
Well, get in line.
Yeah, I joined the queue. I tell you why I don't like you is I saw this show and I sat there for 90 minutes, and congratulations on not having an interval. That's wonderful. Getting out quickly, I like that.
Yeah, me too. By the time we get out, our show's 88 minutes long. My buddy who's in Les Mis across the street, end of intermission. So, can't complain.
I love that. Anyway, back to why I hate you.
Yes.
You made me feel not much of a man. You made me feel insecure. You made me feel deeply unattractive. I don't want that when I come to a show, to be honest.
Well, all I can do is say it's my parents. It's genetics, and I don't really know what to say to that.
I mean, you are like the Broadway dream, aren't you? You've got that kind of classic boy look. You've got the amazing booming voice. And kind of I hoped that you couldn't sing, so I could kind of feel better that you would just look good, but you're actually not very good at what you did. But I can't even say that.
Actually, I've heard that a couple of times, that people have said, I was just hoping that he couldn't sing, and then, sorry.
Were you born singing? Because you have that traditional, mega, massive, booming Broadway voice, which I suppose every Broadway performer dreams of. Were you born singing?
I appreciate that. Actually, yeah, my mom, I was born, I'm from a really small town in Idaho, in the northwest part of the United States, and my mom taught us to sing when we were very little, 4 and 5 years old, so I was singing harmony when I was really little, and out in the woods with her guitar, and so kind of self-taught. And
well, congratulations on your role. You do it so well, and this is a stupid show. This is a silly show. This isn't Les Mis. This isn't something where you go in and invest in the show. You just sit there and let it all go by you and have a great time. Am I right in thinking this show is camper than Mamma Mia?
Ooh, well, that's a close one. I like it's super camp. It's the campiest camp that ever camped. But so I love that it kind of comes at things from an angle, and it's not just like smack down the middle. Some people don't get the references, but I think that's okay.
Tell me about being you. I mean, I come to New York and enjoy the food. I enjoy buffets. I eat as much as I can. You become a bit of a salad dodger. You're out of the show, really, aren't you?
A saddle? I don't know what that is.
A salad dodger, someone who, let's say, prefers the burgers to the lettuce.
Oh, I'm learning a lot today. We work all day long, so when we go home, really all we do is hit the sack. I don't drink. Occasionally on Sundays because we have Mondays off, but really you kind of have to live like a nun when you're carrying a show like this. It's a lot of singing, it's a lot of intense singing, and you really have to protect your instrument.
Do you ever question what the X factor was that got you the gig opposed to someone else?
This in particular gig was, I did the workshops for it. So while they were, and this is a very new project. It's only been kind of bandied around for the past year. So Douglas Carter Bean, who I'd worked with before, and Christopher Ashley, who directed me in All Shook Up, the Elvis show here on Broadway. So I had a relationship with both of them. I did both of the workshops. So the audition process wasn't like the normal audition process. It was kind of would you like to do this workshop? I came in, I did the workshop, and then they said, if it goes to Broadway, would you like to do it?
Tell me about the feeling of walking down the streets and seeing your picture in a poster or seeing the advert on TV. Is there any greater thrill than that? This is presumably what you've dreamed of all your life, to get here and to make it and to be the lead in a top show.
Yeah, it is. It's great, but it is surreal at first. I mean, my first experience with that was with All Shook Up 2 years ago, the Elvis show. I played the Elvis guy, and there was a poster, a billboard 4 stories high in Times Square of my face. So that was very strange, and mostly it's strange for your family and for your friends, and they give you a lot of, ribbing about it. And but you can't think about that too much or look too much into that, because then it just kind of gets you in your head and it's strange. And I kind of separate myself from that. But yeah, I mean, walking down and seeing my face on a poster or picture, it's great. It is everything I dreamed of.
One of the things that I get depressed about with musical theatre is that you're so blessed, you're so talented, you work so hard, yet 99.9% of the audience leave the theatre not knowing your name.
Yeah.
Do you get bothered by that? Does that affect you?
I understand the way it is. I don't really get bothered by it because, you can be a huge Broadway star here on these 6 blocks, and then no one else in the country gives a toss who you are. I kind of like that anonymity, although I am kind of branching out in films and television now. But actually, the way things are moving, in order to get a lead in a new show, often you have to have some kind of recognizability. So it's kind of a two-edged sword.
Congratulations on being you. If I could just be you for one day. No, not even one day, just half an hour. I would use it for every possible opportunity I could get. It must be a brilliant, blessed life.
I can't complain. I work really hard, and I take care of myself, and, you play the cards you've been dealt,
You're implying in that reply that I am deeply unattractive, or you would have said, no, you're not that bad. You see, I find that offensive.
That wasn't my intent at all.
Congratulations with the show. Xanadu's on, and it's here, and it's doing big business. If you want an alternative, I can't really compare it to anything, because I don't think there's not anything similar, is there?
No, I don't think so. It's one of a kind.
Xanadu's on 44th Street. It's the big new musical here on Broadway, and it's making people laugh. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
The Alex Belfield In Conversation podcast with daisymedia.co.uk. Alex Belfield.